Is Kevin going to be tuning in with us tonight?
Yes, Kevin is on the screen.
Okay.
Yep.
It is a call to order, please, for the township meeting this evening. Four supervisors are present. One is absent, the board. We also have present our township manager, our township assistant to the manager, our township solicitor, our township engineer, our police chief, our fire chief, and our reporter. Welcome. I'd like to read something to you since we're on Zoom. In order to abide by recent state health guidelines, the February 23rd meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be conducted over Zoom and closed to the public. The interested parties are encouraged to either submit public comment on the matter via email to patconnor@strabane.com no later than 15 minutes prior to the meeting commencement, or to attend the meeting virtually to express their desired comments during the proceedings. The meeting login information can be found at strabane.com. Further, the board held an executive session before the meeting this evening concerning the litigation and personnel. So I would ask the members of the board in the room, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Number 3 on the agenda, public comment time. The Township Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Stanley, do we have anybody signed up tonight for public comment? Mr. Carr? None?
No emails on the board.
Anybody on Zoom who would like to participate in public comment? Seeing none?
None? Okay, thank you. Number 4, meeting minutes. Need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors regular and legislative meetings dated January 26th and February 9th, 2021.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Just second, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Number 5, financial business. Approval payroll for the period January 10th through January 23rd, 2021, and January 24th through February 6th, 2021, and bills for the period January 23, 21 through February 19th, 21. Need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Need a second?
I'll second it with 2 questions to the township manager. One is garbage. Do we have containers at Driscoll and Billy Bell this time of year because we're paying for them?
I will have to double check.
And then the other one that you may know, PA American Water. I was just really puzzled that it was the identical same amount for the road department and the police department to the penny. Can you check on that? I mean, I would assume they'd be like, yours was 63 here, or theirs was $440.62, and the road was identical. I've never seen 2 water bills that be identical.
Sure.
With that,
Your second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Number 6, announcements, Mr. Stanley. At this time, Mr. Stanley, if you would, for 2 announcements coming from the chair, is I would like you to announce the funds we received in the CARES Act and also the other same thing for the municipal project.
Sure thing. The county commissioners were here 2 weeks ago to present a check in the amount of $303,000 for CARES Act funding that we received in the township's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Township is very grateful for the county and their handling and administering of the federal CARES Act funding. And also, the township is in receipt of a LSA grant. It's beneficial. Receipt of an LSA grant for $150,000 for our Manifold Road Stream Bank Restoration Project that we'll be moving forward with on design plans in the near future and getting prepared to do that project. So very grateful for the work of our MS4 engineer in helping us out with that.
Mr. Stegg, also does, we know that we have received some other grants for different things in our township. Are you free to announce those at this time, or you want to hold them?
No, sure. We are also working with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. We were awarded a $46,000 change grant for a new playground structure at Billyville Park. And with that playground structure, there is also reformatting, resurfacing of the handicap spaces, parking spaces at that park as well. So we're working with the DCNR on that. The community should be seeing changes happening in the near future.
Also, did we get a grant this past year from Mr. Farnworth on Woodner?
That was the
That was the
DCNR.
decent.
Yep.
That was
The Billy
Yes.
Bell.
Yes, thank you to our assistant, Pat, and his work on that.
Okay, very good.
And one last announcement. So the township, in order to facilitate more public participation and keep people up to date with the meetings, we've launched a YouTube page, YouTube channel, if you will. And I'm going to go and just share the screen just for those that are watching. They can keep tabs on it. So for those that do visit our website, it's right in the face whenever you visit. So YouTube channel's right there. Click on it, or if you go to youtube.com, whatever's easier for you. You'll see all our meetings that we posted up here. So previously, it was just the most recent meeting. This will allow us to catalog and sort of post these meetings forever, and all will be there. So if somebody has a question or wants to watch a meeting from 2 years ago, they can do so. It's free. It's the most popular streaming video platform in the world, and we have joined the ranks, and we're going to keep that page up to date as best we can.
Good, thank you, Mr. Corner. Appreciate it. Is that it, Brother Stegg, on the announcements? Anything else?
Yes.
Thank you very much for doing that. Okay, number 7, township reports and presentations. First, municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4 report. The Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for comments regarding the topic of stormwater. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Stegg, do we have any folks that want to speak to this?
Yeah, so is there anybody on Zoom who would like to take this time, have a 3-minute public comment regarding stormwater in the township? Hearing nobody.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stegg. Next, a report from the township manager.
Sure, a couple of things to update the community and the board on. Our DCED Family Services study continues. The group of 9 agencies consists of Strabane, North Franklin, Chartiers, Canton, and all the volunteer agencies affiliated with the municipalities, in addition to the career service for the city of Washington, met on February 17th. They resumed to reboot due to the I guess, complications with the pandemic, getting used to saying that, in its ongoing work with the DCED. The data and reporting being requested by the DCED is to be provided before the end of this week, and the group anticipates a draft report sometime around the beginning of April. So it's continuing to move forward. Also, we have our Township Fire Services Strategic Planning Initiative. The steering committee, comprised of career service, volunteer service, township board and management, will be scheduling a meeting for the month of March. February meeting was delayed to provide the volunteer department time to review the draft report, which is primarily the executive committee structure and best management practices with its legal counsel. Also, this is a project that has been going on for some time. This is 2019 funding from the community development block grants that come out of the federal government. So what we have here is some accessibility improvements to the building. in the amount of approximately $70,000. So the township 2019 CDBG funding, and that includes the resolution 37-18, was allocated to accessibility improvements to the municipal building. And this project is being managed by the redevelopment authority. So due to the delays caused by the pandemic, bids were advertised in January, due on February 12th, with the assistance of RSH Architects. That's the firm that bid to do the design work. That was again awarded by the redevelopment authority, and who Jim Barnes and I have been talking to and working with on plans. Received 4 bids, and according to the authority, M.A. Dunn Construction of Pittsburgh was the lowest responsible bidder at $67,500. The total amount allocated to the township is $71,400. However, owing costs for design, the remaining balance is $60,200. The redevelopment authority has advised the township may close that gap using funds from its 2023 allocation or pay out of pocket. The township will be in contact with the redevelopment authority and the architect to determine the construction schedule in the near future. So Jim's got the plans and reviewing the.
Is the gap 7,300?
Yes. So my question for the board would be the preference. I would recommend the preference being to go ahead and draw from the 2023 allocation.
That's fine, if that's your recommendation.
In a recap for the February 9th legislative meeting, the board met and took the following actions. They directed staff and legal counsel to revise, simplify the draft ordinance restricting on-street parking for those with off-street parking available during winter snow events, and include a public education initiative for the board's consideration at an upcoming meeting, most likely the next meeting in March. The board also reached a consensus to not pursue an aluminum can recycling program at the Township Recycle Center. Services already provided at curbside and is cost prohibitive. Following a presentation regarding a fire hydrant assessment fee, directed staff to confirm additional information and present a pros and cons comparison of such a fee. Received an update from Chief Oak regarding the police department's body camera program. And I also failed to also identify the open burning ordinance. So it was also the board's direction to not change or amend the current open burning ordinance and to provide a little more attention to how we enforce that. In our community park master plan update, the steering committee met over Zoom on February 16th, and they focused its discussion on responding to several draft master plans that were prepared by the consultant, Patrick, and distributed draft vision and mission statements for review by the committee at its next meeting on March 16th. So I think one of the things coming out of the steering committee that we will see pretty soon is sort of a goal and plan on how to engage the public from the steering committee, and maybe incorporating a ribbon cutting for our new kitchen and bath project to in conjunction with that. So we're talking about that now.
Okay, good, thanks. Appreciate that. We'll just move on to your secretary treasurer report.
Sure. Secretary Treasury report submitted for the board's consideration.
You got any questions, anyone on the secretary's report? Okay, let's move on. Township solicitor, Mr. Baker.
We've been involved in a number of issues involving zoning, zoning issues also regarding Strabane matter, and things of planning, everything else. And those things I think are being accomplished. So right now, that's about all we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Township engineer, is Kevin available up there? Or do you have something to bring to the program?
Good
Kevin?
evening.
Good evening.
You should all have a copy of my consulting engineer report for the month. The kitchen and bathroom project, we did a walkthrough of it with the contractor and township staff and developed a punch list of things for them to correct. They're in the process of correcting those issues, and park is tracking to be open in time for the April rental season. So we're very happy about it. and we think it'll be a good asset for the community. There's a pay application before you tonight for your potential review and approval. The second item I just want to touch on is the cured in place lining project. We met in the field with Standard Pipe Services, and they're looking to start in mid-March to do that work on Clare and Crowell Road. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have about any of the other items or anything I discussed.
Anybody from the board, question? Kevin?
No.
Anything at this time? Thank you, Kevin. Hold still, though. We may need you later on the program.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. 8, unfinished business. We'll move on. New business. We'll begin with letter A on the back page of the agenda. Motion approving final township welcome sign along East Bow Street. Give a brief description of that, Mr. Static, to the back one part of it.
Sure, I'm going to defer to Pat, and you can go over some of that information. He's been working closely with our Eagle Scout here.
Sure. So April came to the township in 2019. Over the recent months, in an effort to complete an Eagle Scout project, Mr. Abe McCoy of Boy Scout Troop 1315 has worked with the green team and staff to develop a project partnership with the development and installation of the walking sign along East Bow Street in the property of CFS Bank, which is located at 730 East Bow Street. The project is anticipated to include beautification efforts, including planning and landscaping. With the direction and guidance of the green team, Aiden acquired numerous renderings and quotes for potential signage. After careful consideration and a recommendation from the green team, he has selected the design of Pennsylvania Correctional Institutions for the final product, which is attached, and we'll go ahead and bring up in the presentation shortly. Please note staff intends to use the overall design and color palette associated with the sign for future sign installations and branding initiatives throughout the township. Additionally, Aiden secured permission from CFS Bank for the installation of the proposed sign. We have a letter attached in your packet. He has also procured donations from and discounted pricing from township businesses for materials such as paint and lumber from Lowe's and flowers from Stimmel's Greenhouse. Lastly, he has fundraised himself over $400 in contributions for the project from his family and local Boy Scout troop. I would note that he wasn't able with the Boy Scout regulations to fundraise outside of those parameters, so it was just through family and through his Boy Scout troop. So staff anticipates Aiden shortly will be requesting a donation not to exceed $400 to fulfill any remaining funding gap. Should the board approve the final project, Aiden will coordinate with staff and Public Works Department to install the sign and complete the beautification of the property for the anticipated spring/summer completion. And I would ask if Aiden is available on the Zoom call, if he could just sort of summarize the project if he wants to add anything and fill us in on what I missed. There he is. Aiden, can you hear us?
Still up there?
Yeah, are you able to see?
There?
Yeah, perfect. He has his presentation now.
Okay.
All right, so about myself, my name is Aiden McCoy. I've been a resident of South Strabane Township since 2010. I have been a Boy Scout since age 7, and I have completed all my merit badge requirements for Eagle Scout. I'm a 10th grade honors student at Trinity High School, and I'm a part of the Trinity High School soccer team. So the plan for my Eagle Scout project is to put a sign at the entrance of South Strabane Township on East Bow Street to show entrance into our township. I've worked with the green team since the fall of 2019 on ideas for the sign, and I've required permission from CFS Bank and secured donations from my Boy Scout troop. The Boy Scout troop will help with the installation of the sign, and I've gone before the Eagle Scout project board and they have approved my project. So moving on to the sign design, this is the design that we were able to agree on with the green team. And this is another sign that the same company did for the right outside Washington Park. Now the location of the sign, this is right outside of Charleroi Federal Bank, and right where I'm standing there would be the location of where the sign would end up being. This is just another view of the location. Now, I've received donations from my family and fellow troop families, and I'm asking South Strabane Township to help with the remaining balance. Stimmel's Greenhouse has also agreed to donate landscaping and flowers, and Lowe's will give me a discounted price on posts, hardware, and mulch. Now, this is the list of the items that I'll need for the project. Now, the Pennsylvania Correction Industries quoted me $594.15 for the sign. And from Lowe's, the hardware will cost around $212, bringing the total up to $806. But subtracting the donations that I received from my troop, which was $450, it'll end up costing at the most $356.15. I still need to see what discount Lowe's will give me on the materials. Next is a small timeline of how things are going to go. So planning on ordering the sign within the next week, and I need a signature from the township to proceed with the order. I'm wondering how long it'll take me to get that signature. And the sign should be constructed and shipped by the end of March. And then I plan to install the sign in April or May. And my fellow scouts and the troop will help me install the sign along with Public Works for guidance. And I just want to thank you for helping me make my Eagle Scout project become a reality. And do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the project with congratulations and gratitude to Aiden. And included in my motion would be a commitment from the township to make up the difference in the dollar amount.
Someone want to second that motion? Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion. Now, do you have any question of Aiden at all? Or congratulations, something?
Yes, congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, what type of planting are you doing? Just flowers around there? You're gonna put a mulch bed in and flowers?
Yeah, the beautification around the sign will be a mulch bed with flowers.
Okay, thank you.
Aiden, thank you very much for that presentation and congratulations on a job well done. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good work.
good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks, Aiden. We'll be in touch.
You can listen to the motion if you want to, Aiden.
I will.
Okay, we have a motion on already and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Once again, congratulations, Aiden. Enjoy the project. Great. Okay, letter B. Public hearing for the consideration of an ordinance to rezone a 55-acre parcel ID 600-001-0000004800 from a C2 general designation to an R4 medium density residential designation at the intersection of Route 19 and Burkett Lane. Before I turn this hearing over to Mr. Maple, he'll swear the folks in and conduct the hearing. Brendan, would you give a brief description of what's going to be taking place?
Sure. The township is in receipt of an application from PA Finance 2 LLC to rezone a 55.6 acre tract of land. Parcel ID 600-00-00-00-0048 on Burkett Lane near the intersection with Route 19 from a C2 general commercial district to an R4 medium density residential zoning designation. The applicant is also seeking final master plan approval for the proposed Burkett Manor planned residential development on the aforementioned site. That'll be the next agenda item. The purpose of the proposed rezoning is to accommodate an age-targeted PRD comprised of 101 detached single-family dwellings and 43 townhome units for a total of 144 units. The applicant participated in several meetings with the Planning Commission. It was on December 3rd and January 7th, and the Board of Supervisors on December 15th to present and receive feedback regarding the rezoning and the proposed PRD. At its January 7th meeting, the Planning Commission recommended the board approve the request to rezone the property from C2 to R4. The Planning Commission also recommended the board conditionally approve the master plan for the proposed PRD. In a letter dated January 4th, the township engineer recommended approval of both the rezoning and master plan based on completeness and compliance. The request to rezone the property is deemed consistent and comparable with the guidance provided by the township's comprehensive plan. The property is identified in a mixed-use area along the Route 19 corridor per the future land use map. Mixed use is defined as regulations that permit the use of both commercial and residential development. From a land use planning perspective, the proposed residential character of the development will seek to complement adjacent and nearby commercial areas at a location that is topographically challenging to any future commercial development on the property. The applicant has addressed the following points deemed as priorities within the comp plan: providing diverse housing options that support different populations within the township, connectivity with both future and emergency access points and sidewalks, and continuity with the assigned mixed-use designation of the parcel, commercial and residential. A legal notice was published in the OR on January 26th and again on February 2nd, advising of the public hearing, in addition to a letter dated January 18th mailed to the affected property, who is the applicant. Mr. Stephen Victor of Victor Wetzel Associates, representing the applicant, is in attendance tonight to address questions from the board and also to make a presentation regarding the proposed rezone.
Take it away, Steve.
All right, good evening.
Hold on. Mr. Maple.
Mr. Wetzel, are you the only person going to testify on behalf of the application?
Yes,
All right. Ms. Rosette, would you swear Mr. Wetzel in, please?
it's Mr. Victor. Sorry, my name is Stephen Victor.
Stephen with a PH or an M? Or a V?
Steven Victor, and the firm name is Victor Wetzel Associates.
Okay, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got?
I do.
Thank you. Before we begin, we have exhibits A through H to place in evidence. Exhibit A would be the application for list of property owners within 300 feet of the property lines and project narrative. Exhibit B will be the engineer review letter. Exhibit C would be the Washington County Planning Commission review letter. Exhibit D is the proof of publication for the public notice. Exhibit E is the notice of public mail to property owners. Exhibit F is the minutes of the 12/3/20 Planning Commission pre-application meeting. Exhibit G is the minutes of the 1/7/21 Planning Commission meeting recommending rezoning. Exhibit H is the proposed ordinance with legal description of property to be rezoned. Is there a motion placed into evidence exhibits A through H as stated?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? How do you vote?
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All right,
Opposed? The motion carried 4-0, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Sir, go ahead with your presentation.
Great, thank you very much. And again, my name is Stephen Victor from Victor Wetzel Associates. And we're here on behalf of PA Finance 2. I think the township manager has done an excellent job in giving you the background information. I'll use my PowerPoint here to give you the graphic exhibits that support the rezoning and then explain what we're proposing to use the property for with our master plan. This first exhibit shows the location of the property. We're on the easterly side of Washington Road, Route 19, and we are immediately south of Burkett Lane. Burkett Lane intersects with 19 at the Racetrack Road intersection where there is currently a traffic signal. The 55-acre parcel is zoned C2, as is the property all along the Washington Road corridor. The property to our east, to the right of the yellow dashed line, would be zoned A1. The property has significant topographic differentials from Burkett Lane, which is elevation 1050, to a high point a little over 200 feet higher is at the south end of the site, elevation 1256. The elevation along Washington Road on our westerly side is elevation 1090. And again, a significant difference to the high point there. There is another plateau in the northeasterly corner at elevation 1180. The orange lines coloring represents the areas of 25% and greater slopes. And our plan has worked to work around these slopes, but these slopes we're able to work around these slopes for residential purposes, but not possible to do so for commercial development. Thus the request for rezoning the property. We also feel that there is substantial commercial property immediately to our north in the Park Place development that will be helpful in supporting the commercial needs for the residential community. Again, we're proposing that the site be rezoned from its current C2 to R4 multifamily. The proposed plan would create an active adult community, otherwise it's bracketed to and marketed to those who would like to move on to a type of housing that will be self-maintained, either townhouses or patio homes. The patio homes would be built by Heartland Homes. And as can be seen here, it'd be individual single-family units, but the key for them to make them age attractive would be the first car, the car, kitchen, living room, dining room, and master bedroom suite, all being on the main level of the house. The second type of housing would also be built by Heartland Homes, and it's their Serenade townhouse. Not all empty nesters are looking for first floor living, and many are still in great shape and have no problem going up and down steps. So we have a small area of the site that would also be geared toward townhouses. The townhouse area would be that area closest to Burkett Lane. We have a single entrance coming into the site, approximately 200 feet off of Washington Road. And it would be Black Oak Lane. And that street would come into the plan, and there would be townhouses facing it with rear entry garages. And then further up, we would have Yellowwood Court, which would serve as a private street to serve access to the remaining townhouse units. The majority of the site will be used for the 101 patio homes that would be on individual lots, but each lot would be offered common area maintenance. So again, for attractive senior living, that people can, not have to worry about maintaining the lawns, snow removal, and exterior maintenance of the units themselves. We're proposing to do the development as a PRD, planned residential development. And as such, we have various recreational components. The main recreational component located here in the center of the site would be an area where there would be a shelter, gazebo type structure, a fire pit area, and then 2 pickleball courts. We see this as being a sort of an activity center that would be highly desirable for the active adult community. In addition to that, there are sidewalks on both sides of the street throughout the plan. And those sidewalks could then access to a little parklet area here on Black Oak and another parklet area here on Red Bud Lane. Two other areas of the site are connected to the sidewalks in which there would be walking trails here on the southerly end of the site and here at the northerly end of the site as well. There is on the far northeasterly corner a trail system that would have access from the end of Red Bud Lane's cul-de-sac that would connect down to Yellowwood Court and also to Burkett Lane. More importantly, this trail connection and the connection to Yellowwood would also act as an emergency access route if there was any emergency going on and the roadway were blocked. This would give an exit point or an entrance point for emergency vehicles in and out of the plan. Because we are limited in the access coming off of Burkett Lane, we have taken steps to ensure that in the future there will be interconnectivity. At the south end of our property, we will build a stub street to the abutting property line. And from there, we've demonstrated how a street could be constructed through the vacant property to our south down to Davis School Road. On the easterly portion of our site, we've terminated with a temporary cul-de-sac, but the right-of-way would then have the potential to continue on. And again, the grading and the right-of-way are shown for a connector through the vacant piece of property that would connect to Meadowview Road, and therefore ultimately give connectivity both to the north, south, and east of the property. We understand that the procedure that is going to take place tonight will be a two-step process. That if you do grant the rezoning of the property, to ensure that the plan that you see here would become the plan that would be presented and ultimately approved for development, the township has initiated a master planning process. So following the rezoning, you would immediately approve the master plan, which would identify that the rezoning was being granted with our mutual understanding that it would be a development with the townhouses and the patio homes and a street configuration with the amenities as shown here for us to move forward then with the PRD process. Are there any questions that I may answer?
Or any questions from Mr. Victor?
On what, on the rezoning? No, there's no question on the rezoning.
Mr. Murphy?
I'd ask, I'm a little lost, so if we approve the rezoning, are we approving this as the master plan?
That's a separate motion.
This will be a separate issue.
Separate.
Okay, thank you. Then no questions.
Steve, I have a question. It's not about rezoning, but you talked about some of the, well, where you have some of this open space, and you said some of the higher elevations in there. Do you work around those higher elevations, or do you disturb that soil when you're putting this plan in?
The highest point of this property here is around lots 231, 230 in that area. And yes, we are cutting about 10 feet of elevation in that, or 10 or 20 feet of elevation in that general location of the site. But what we have done with the design of our streets are to wrap them around the hillside, if you would, in this fashion, so that we have a gradual grade as we work our way up the slope. One of the reasons we are having to cut as much as we are in this location was so that we would be able to still provide connectivity to the south and connectivity to the east. If we were simply just leaving it as a cul-de-sac, then the street itself could have been raised higher. But if doing so, then it would have been too high to have connectivity to Davis School, and then also causing connectivity issues for the Meadowview. So The grading here has been kept to at a minimum around that high point, but it was necessary for the future street connections.
Okay, for your open space, once you replant, what do you replant that with when you disturb that soil? How do you go about that?
When we submit our preliminary PRD plan, we will have a landscaping plan as part of it. Our standard practice has been that we would start a reforestation program on these steep slopes in the open space there and here where I'm showing with my cursor, and also here. So those 3 areas, we have had great success in using smaller seedling type plantings at a very high rate. And we typically get a forest revegetation within about a 7 to 8 year period of pretty good restarting growth period.
I know you compared your project to, I think, one in North Strabane, and this looks like a really nice project. And it's like the entrance to the township. And I would like this to look, like something better than North Strabane has. We want it to be outstanding in our, in our township. So that's why I'm looking at that open space and I'm thinking, if you do something really super nice with that, it's going to make the project look all the better.
Well, we're very fortunate that we are looking to have a high-end builder and a high-end market on this. And so we share the same objectives as you, is that we want this to be a very high quality development. And we will do our best to make that happen.
Hey, I have one other question. I saw you have 2 parkettes in there. Over on, if you go out to further out on Black Oak, is it possible to put one out there? Because I'm thinking a lot of people are going to walk on those sidewalks instead of going to the walking trails. Because I like the idea of sidewalks all through the township. And if there's another place for them to take a break or rest over there, it would be nice.
I think we could easily do that here at, I'll call it the terminus right here, of next to lot 224. Certainly we can add that at that location with no problem.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Burns, you have any questions or comments? I do not. Anything further, Mr. Victor? Anything further, Mr. Victor?
Oh, no, I thought you asked of Mr. Victor, but no, I have no further comments.
Strictly on rezoning.
Correct.
Okay.
Is anybody in the public, you have any questions or comments for this gentleman about the rezoning? Anybody in the public, any questions or comments? Hearing none. At this point in time, Mr. Weber, do you want to make a motion to close the testimony?
Yes, I need a motion to close this particular testimony.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of closing the hearing, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0.
Now, the next thing before you would be the motion to consider the adoption of the ordinance changing the zoning classification for this property is requested.
So moved.
Who said that?
Burns.
Do I have a second to Mr. Burns' motion?
I'll make that.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. Any further discussion on that particular motion? All those in favor of the motion concerning rezoning, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next thing would be item C.
Yes. Okay. I'll continue with it.
Mr. Victor, do you want to make a presentation concerning your, or Mr.
Yeah.
Stanek, you want to make your presentation first?
Yeah.
Sure. This is sort of just a bridge into the more
Correct.
detail about what we're seeing with PRD. So this is a sort of a different approach and different look at what we looked at previously. So in addition to the rezoning, just considered, the township has received a master plan for Burkett Manor planned residential development, 55.5 acre tract of land. on Burkett Lane is proposed for development to accommodate, again, age-targeted residential community, total of 144 units. Purpose of the master plan is to establish general, high-level planning expectations between the developer and the township. Should the board accept and approve the master plan, the developer will then prepare the necessary documents for subdivision, land development, and conditional use approvals in the coming months. It is important to know that the proposed development, when going through the aforementioned approval processes, must comply with the township zoning and subdivision land development codes, unless variances or modifications are granted, which may alter the approved master plan. I believe de minimis changes are expected and would be reviewed by staff for compliance and consistency with any approved master plan. Should that consistency be questionable, we would be in touch with the board as far as any type of amendment to the master plan. The proposed PRD will be constructed in 2 phases and consist of the following. We have zoning in the lots. We have a comprised of a total of 144 units. That's 3 units per acre, where the code allows a greater density up to 12 per acre. The minimum standards for R4 PRD are either met or are more favorable than code requirements. Typically, lot widths for single-family detached units in this plan range, units range for 62 feet with a 60-foot minimum requirement. The width of a lot is measured from the front building line and not the front lot line. So just a heads up on how that is measured. Infrastructure will be served by a public sanitary sewer system that will become part of the WEJA system. 2 stormwater detention pond facilities that will remain private, and a conveyance system that will be dedicated to the township. Also, 2 streets with minimum 50-foot rights-of-way will be dedicated to the township, Black Oak Lane and Red Bud Lane, and a shared drive access named Yellowwood Court, which will remain private. Currently, the master plan shows 28 on and off-street parking spaces, including spaces at the proposed park facility. Burkett Lane will also be dedicated to the township as a public street. Parks and Recreation, when we look at PRDs, we also have a fine eye toward the Park and Recreation components. Provided open space consists of roughly 40% of the entire property. There is a shelter proposed. I don't have an approximate size, but I believe it is referred to as a gazebo. 2 pickleball courts and a fire pit area. This recreational area is provided with a parking lot. Additionally, there are 2 parklets along each street that provide seating and 2 separate walking trails internal to the community, as well as the sidewalks along both sides of all planned public streets. In addition to what was just mentioned in the last item of adding a parklet to the terminus of Black Oak Lane. Buffer areas are also provided around the perimeter of the proposed PRD as the zoning code requires, and will differ depending on which zoning district they adjoin. Connectivity, future street connections are established leading to Davis School Road and Meadowview Road in the event that neighboring parcels develop. Additionally, sidewalks are also provided along both sides of the streets that are planned for future connection. According to the applicant, the sidewalks will be privately owned. Emergency access is provided off of Burkett Lane to the Yellowwood Court cul-de-sac, as well as an access road to the Red Bud Lane cul-de-sac, which is also able to be used as a recreational trail. That concludes my report.
Okay, Mr. Baker.
Mr. Victor, you want to make a presentation?
Again, what I have here in front of you is the plan showing our access off of Burkett Lane for Black Oak Lane, which will be a long public street, off of which will be Red Bud Lane, again, another public street. There will be 101 single-family homes to be constructed as patio-style homes, meaning first-floor living arrangements. And at the entrance to the plan, at the northern end of the site, are our 43 townhouse units. The main recreational amenity is here in the center of the site, the gazebo 2 pickleball courts and a fire pit and parking area here. And 2 parklets as shown on the plan. And as requested this evening, a 3rd parklet will be located here adjacent to lot 224 at the end of Black Oak Lane. 2 stormwater detention facilities are located on the site to manage the runoff from the site. And there will be all public utilities, water, sewer, gas, electric, available throughout the plan. There's approximately 40% of the site is set aside as open space, and that we understand that any application for the PRD will need to be in substantial compliance to the master plan as shown here. That's it. Any questions?
Yes, this is Bob Weber, Mr. Victor. I talked to you last time about this shelter, this gazebo. And I see on the note here, a shelter approximate size not provided. I'm not concerned about the size of the gazebo, but I am concerned if you had, have you gone back and considered putting a clubhouse in with a meeting room for the HOA?
We asked that question of the developer, and they did not feel that a clubhouse was a amenity that they were looking for on this particular development. But I will be happy to bring that comment back to them and see if they would reconsider that.
I would appreciate that because I'm familiar with HOAs and they do need a meeting, a room, a clubhouse type situation to conduct business. But once the HOA gets started, it's run like a small business. And they need a place to do their business without searching for space to hold their meetings, annual meetings, special meetings, and so forth. So I would ask if you take that back and ask them to reconsider to about a clubhouse with a meeting room. It would be beneficial to the HOA, which is a necessity.
I will ask them.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We have 3 or 4 other developments in the township, and they all have a clubhouse or a meeting room for their HOA to meet. And since this is going to be such a nice development, that would be I think it would be a great substitute, maybe even to the pickleball courts and the shelter and the fire pit.
Okay.
It's something they can use all year round, other than the gazebo.
Is that it, Mr. Lukatich?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy, you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Is it because they're patio homes and single family homes? Is it gonna be one HOA or will each one have a separate HOA?
They'll be set up as 2 separate homeowners associations, one for the townhouses and one for the patio homes. But then the 2 associations will have common ownership of the open space and any mutual benefit, amenities, whether it be the clubhouse, the pickleball, the parklets, anything like that. So any of the amenities in there would be owned and controlled by both HOAs. So it's almost like where you have individual HOAs and then there's what we refer to as a master homeowners association, which sort of ties the 2 together on common elements.
Okay, thank you. The trails that come off of Yellowwood and Redbud and go down to Burkett Lane, you know how wide and how you're gonna put them in so the 30-ton fire truck can access those for emergency?
We discussed that detail with the fire chief in a Zoom meeting probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. The detail would be that the trail itself would be approximately 6 feet wide and it would be an asphalt trail. However, off to the right and left side of the trail, what would be called the berm of that, would be a reinforced shoulder. So basically, it's 12 inches of rock as a rock base that you would have so that the fire truck or any other emergency vehicle would really be riding its wheels on the shoulder as it goes down through that area. So it will support those types of equipment during an emergency affair. We think the frequency with which the emergency will occur will be so seldom, and God bless, hopefully never. So the scale of what you really see will be the 6 foot wide asphalt trail.
Mr. McWhite,
I'm like, can I keep going?
you keep going.
Okay, so
You
the-
got $5?
Yeah, the 6 foot, which would be great, and the rock. Now here comes my other question, because this year was a bad year, and as I said, I hope we never have to use it. Who's gonna plow the snow off of it?
The
If there are
HOA,
rocks on the side, I'm not gonna wanna plow the snow off of it.
yeah, no, all of the amenities that are in the open space, whether it be the emergency trails, the stormwater management, the parklets, any of those amenities would all be privately maintained by the HOA.
Okay, and then, Bergen Lane, are you going to bring that up to township standards to the entrance of your only entrance into, or are you gonna upgrade it all the way to the back of your property?
It's our understanding that we would be bringing it up just to the Black Oak Lane portion of it. We were told that the initial installation of it was to public standards. Now, we've never gone out and done borings on that, but in my discussions with the civil engineer for that project, he tells me that that portion of the road was brought up, was initially constructed to municipal specifications. And if it, for some reason, is not up to that specification today, we will take the responsibility for bringing it up to that specification.
Okay, that's it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. You want to go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Chief Reese what he thought of that emergency access road. Will it work?
Yes, we talked with Mr. Victor over that. And he was willing to put in the 2 separate ones that he showed off of the townhome section, and also off the top to give us options if in case there was problems. Our major concern is if there was something that occurred, such as a fire, if we had to, we could get some people in or out. Mostly by passenger car. If we had to use that access point, we would probably be using that as for the smaller vehicles that we would have, not per se taking the ladder truck up that emergency road.
Okay, thank you.
Now, and the other point of the conversation is your other points with connectivity that could possibly be coming down the road as well, to Davis School and to Meadowview.
Mr. Victor, I have another question. This open space. I know you mentioned to my colleague here about planting trees. Is that basically what the open space can be used for? Just planting trees, looking at pretty trees, or what else could you use the open space? What else can you do?
Given the topography of the site, there is limited, I'll call functional activities that can take place in the open space. It's primarily going to serve as a buffer between ourselves and Route 19, Washington Road, giving us also space within which to handle the stormwater management. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Burns, do you have any questions? Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
I have just a couple of questions, Mr. Victor. What is, do you or Kevin know what the excess capacity is in that line for WeJet going to that that development? The sewage line.
We have not explored that. However, based on the number of units here, we do not believe that there will be a capacity issue in the existing line.
Okay.
But-
Kevin, do you have any idea what the capacity is in that line, excess capacity?
No, don't.
I do not. However, I would tell you that a 8-inch sanitary sewer can serve easily 800 households. So I don't know how much usage there is downstream from us, but our 140 here will not have any overcapacity or not overload an 8-inch sanitary sewer.
All right. Second question I have, Mr. Victor, your master plan, I believe it's made up of 5 sheets, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Does the board have any further questions or comments for Mr. Victor?
No, I would just remind you that as you have given your word that you're gonna go back and talk to the developer about particular clubhouse or anything else we might have mentioned here and put some clarification to it.
I certainly will ask.
Okay, thank you.
And I will do more than ask. I will express your concerns of
Strong
importance.
concerns.
Strongly express your concerns. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Mr. Weber, can I help you craft this motion?
yes.
Does the board wish to, a motion to approve the consideration of a master plan of PA Financial 2, I believe, LLC for the Burkett Manor Planned Residential Development at the intersection of Route 19 and Burkett Lane, subject to the following, that Burkett Lane be brought up to municipal specifications as stated by Mr. Victor, that that the applicant also comply with any and all township ordinances regarding development itself, and that any costs incurred by the township be reimbursed within 30 days of invoice thereof, and that the 5-page master plan is submitted to be part of that motion. I mean, placed in the minutes.
Move to approve. I want to know, that's okay, I've heard the motion. I want to know if we have any assurances on what he's going to back and ask.
Well, that's be part of the developer's agreement also. That'll be the next thing to do after this. So basically, well, first of all, there's a motion, you have to ask for the second, Mr.
Well, second, please.
Second,
Thank you, sir.
So you have a question about the assurances that he's
I
going
just
to
want to
do?
be assured that this is going to be checked out. There's a strong possibility it'll be included.
In the terms of,
Clubhouse with the meeting room.
that's part of that, you want to ask for an amendment to that motion?
Yes,
So you want to include that into that motion?
yes.
Do you agree that amendment, Mr. Burns?
Well, I respect the request, but the gentleman said he was gonna do it.
Are you-
Hold on, Mr. Baker, you can't approve something when it's not complete. It's an incomplete. He has to go back and ask.
don't they still have to come back with this again, and then we'd have to read through this again, and
We can have it part of the developer's agreement.
It's my understanding that procedurally, if you act tonight, we will be filing a preliminary PRD application that will go through a public hearing process and a conditional use approval. And then once that is granted tentative approval or preliminary approval, then we will come back again for phase 1 finals. So there'll be several times that we come back to you.
Correct.
So your action tonight only requires us to follow in substantial compliance with this. I understand your request that you would like to see a clubhouse, but I would hope that you would not make that a condition of this master plan approval. Instead, let me at least take that back and try to lobby for that with my client. And if so, then whatever I submit to you at the time of the preliminary PRD, again, we can have a further discussion if it does not include the clubhouse. But again, personally, I'm hoping that we will have a clubhouse when I come back to you. But I'm not the one who makes the financial decision, so I
I got you. I
respectfully
got you.
request that you not make it a
So the
condition.
So basically, the motion was made, it's second.
Right.
You know, any, ask for any questions on that motion?
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to coming back in very quickly with the preliminary PRD application.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on here to letter D, public hearing for the consideration of an ordinance to rezone a portion of the Pancake neighborhood from a C2 general designation to an R4 medium density residential designation. Strabane Township, of course. And Mr. Stanek, before Mr. Makel takes over for the hearing, would you please give a brief description?
Sure. During the proceedings of the August 6th, 2020 regular meeting of the Planning Commission, Attorney Tom Lonich, representing a group of residents in the Pancake neighborhood, requested the commission consider asking the Board of Supervisors to authorize it to review the zoning designation for a portion of the Pancake neighborhood that is currently zoned C2 General Commercial. It is believed that this request emanated from the approval of a conditional use to operate a boutique winery at 10 McCoy Lane, which was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission and approved by the board in July. Following a discussion regarding the matter, the Planning Commission voted 5-2 to request the board authorize it to review the designation of the neighborhood. So during the September 22nd regular meeting, the board unanimously directed the Planning Commission to review the designation for the neighborhood. During the scheduled October 1st Planning Commission meeting, members in attendance recommended reviewing an R4 zoning designation for a portion of the Pancake neighborhood while cleaning up a multi-zoned lot, which is home to Sam Cohen and Sons and the Nichols Bakery. That is 2 commercial buildings on 1 lot, and 1 lot has 2 zoning districts. During its November 5th meeting, the Planning Commission members reviewed the township zoning map with the assistance of our GIS tool, which illustrated a rezoned portion of the neighborhood under an R4 zoning. After some discussion concerning the potential impact of density in Pancake, the commission advised staff to include metrics for an R3 zoning designation for consideration at the next meeting. In December 3rd, the Planning Commission discussion had some highlights we wanted to call out. One where there were concerns were highlighted regarding the existing commercial businesses that would be impacted. That's Armin's Barrels at 10 McCoy and Jerry's Auto Repair at 1533 East Maiden Street. Rezoning to the highest density would allow for immediate residential development of the area with the least likelihood for needing a zoning variance. The commission noted that all 3 planned residential developments on the township's radar are proposing an R4 zoning designation. The commission noted the prior 50+ year C2 zoning designation history of that neighborhood, citing lack of recent commercial development. The rezoning proposal addresses the following points deemed as priorities within the comp plan. Ensuring the community is proactive in minimizing any potential domino effects of blight in Pancake, Patton, Manifold/Panorama areas, providing diverse housing options that support different populations within the township, and continuity with the assigned mixed-use designation of the area. That concludes the report. So, we had a presentation. You want that now?
Whenever you recall for it.
Well, right now, we're gonna start the public hearing. So I guess you're the township, the applicant, so I guess either you or Pat are gonna have to be sworn in to give that presentation. All right, at this point in time, anyone's gonna testify on behalf of the applicant, please stand and raise your right hand. Sheila?
Brandon James Stanek.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Stanek, state your full name
Brandon Stanek.
and current township manager.
Correct.
Make your presentation.
Thank you. So with our current conditions, here's where we were talking about. This is Route 40, East Main Street. These are two currently zoned C2 districts. The odd lot that we were talking about is over here with two commercial buildings on one lot and two zoning districts on one lot. So to focus on that first, is most easy, is that R3 there in the corner is being proposed as C2. The pink here, the C2 here, is being proposed as R4. We're talking about 14.5 acres approximately. So R4, when we think about rezoning, we also want to understand the purpose of the zoning district that we have. So R4 is, the purpose of it is to protect older established neighborhoods, like Pancake, comprised primarily of single-family dwellings on small lots, provide opportunities for limited commercial development on properties that front on arterial or collector road, Route 40, to provide services to the immediate neighborhoods and local traffic, and to provide for compatible public, semi-public cistern uses as well. Our permitted uses in the R4 are single family and two family. We have conditional uses that are also permitted in the R4. That's multi-family dwellings, which are subject to certain conditions. Those are quadruplex, triplex, townhouse, clusters, garden apartments, mid-rise apartments, high-rise. And we also have planned residential, R4 also qualifies for planned residential development. We have area and bulk regulations in the R4. So single family dwellings, minimum lot area is a quarter acre. Two family dwellings, minimum lot area is a third of an acre. All the principal uses are 1 acre. Minimum lot widths for single family 80, two family 90, other principal uses 150 feet. And then we go into setbacks. For the rear setback, it's 40 feet for principal structures, 20 feet for accessory, 10 feet on each side, 30 feet in front. So when we talk about zoning risk, or risk to bulk, or risk to density, we have R4 zoning yields 57 single-family lots, or 43 two-family lots, meaning 86 units in that pocket that is proposed for rezoning. That's the density risk. So this is what it looks like as an R4 with front out there. We also took a look at R3 zoning. The purpose of that is to provide for medium density single-family development, multi-family housing opportunities, and planned residential developments in areas served by public sewers, other public services, and provide for compatible public, semi-public, and other uses. So when we talk about R3, these are larger minimums, not necessarily very much larger, but there is a difference, and let's explore what that difference can look like. So for single-family minimum lot area, it's a third of an acre. Two-family dwellings, it's a half an acre. Then we get down into our minimum lot widths, 80 feet for single family, 150 feet for two family, other principal uses of 100. When we look at the risk in zoning and density for the R3, what we see is it yields us 43 single family lots and 28 two family lots, or a complete exposure of 56 duplex homes. So the density from R4 is higher, R3 is lower. This is just a table of the metrics when we talk about comparing the zoning districts. And so then again, I think we addressed this first up, but we have this same lot, two different zoning districts. This proposal also cleans it up and makes it all C2. Currently, there are two businesses on that property. Our comprehensive plan encourages development that best utilizes existing building stock, complements neighboring land uses and established community character, encourage close to home access to goods and professional services, and is sustainable. Continue to be proactive in minimizing any domino effect of flight in certain neighborhoods within the township. Pancake being one.
Okay, thank you.
At this point, should I make questions for Mr. Stanek, Mr. Murphy,
No,
Mr. Weber?
Once again, how does it affect those two businesses, the winery and what else is there, or garage?
Currently, there is a winery that was just approved under a conditional use permit. You want to go back to the map, Pat?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up the entire zone now. Sure. And go to 10 McCoy Lane. So 10 McCoy Lane.
So this right here is the winery law.
Okay,
That is a current business, operates under a conditional use permit. Last summer, the township had amended the zoning code to provide for that type of use in the C2 as a conditional use. The other business is located here.
yes,
Here at the corner. This is a mechanic shop that's been in operation for some time. Now, these currently operate in a commercial zoning district. Should the zoning district change, they do have protections under existing non-conforming uses / structures of the zoning code and the municipality's planning code, as well as the winery must operate in correlation to its conditional use permit requirement.
What happens after, again, it's non-conforming use, but there are limitations to it.
Sure, so
What are the limitations?
there are limitations with it, meaning that the expansion of any type of operation for the winery or for the mechanic shop down here would have to go through, there are public processes and pathways in the code that the zoning code identifies. Should the winery want to do something differently or that it expands its current use. So it would have to go through a public process. But operating as a conditional use anyway, any expansion of whatever they're doing under a C2 district would also require possibly an amendment to their conditional use permit.
What happens if the use stops being used?
So should that use, so say for example, if this is zoned R4, if this is rezoned to R4, and this winery, the winery ceases to be a winery, maybe it went out of business. There are protections in the code that allow this commercial use to continue should they be marketing it or should they be looking to sell and market its current use for a period of time. However, that doesn't happen all the time, and that protection through the zoning code with non-conforming uses would eventually lapse. So then any other use of that property moves forward with residential. Correct.
Correct. Any further questions, Mr. Lukatich?
Well, yeah, Brandon. Okay, so let's say the winery goes out of business and you have this empty building there. Now, the only thing you can use that property for possibly is residential. Who is going to buy that building, rip it down, and then build residential units there? We have two commercial entities there. It's zoned commercial. Why would we want to change that zoning? I could see changing the zoning down where the Nichols Bakery is because you have two types of zoning in one lot. But up on the hill, I can't for the life of me think why you want to change. We just gave the guy the permit to put the winery in, and now we're going to change it to residential. It's kind of like we're going back on our word, what we did there.
That's an observation.
Just a crazy observation.
that it, Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Can you leave that up there?
Yeah.
That tree.
Mr. Maple, would you please share, I know you were doing this, or anybody from the community here?
Well, I was gonna go through the board after you guys, that was asked. Mr. Burns, any questions or comments?
Negative. I did have some.
Go ahead.
I just wanted, because I'm one of them asked. So we're on the same page.
There we go.
Good? Yep. So what you're saying we're changing, you're saying we're changing this area?
Yep.
Or just this area?
Yes, just this pink area. And this, here, and the R3.
Okay, so we're leaving all this.
Correct.
Well, here's my question. These-
Sorry, I thought it was a couple of.
Oh, you made it smaller. All these are houses.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you make them, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that being residential. Go ahead and change them to it. I don't think that those would. So this is a vacant lot, nothing there.
Your house right there.
You have a house here.
You have a house.
And you have one here, there, right? So there's two houses. There's commercial, and this was commercial. That's a hillside. So we're changing it for two houses. Four houses up there, thank you. I would say there's, how many houses going there?
That's all.
10?
Oh, yeah.
20? So I wouldn't have a problem, I do kind of have a problem with that, but thank you.
The planning commission did address this side of, the south side of Route 40. I believe that conversation consisted of that this is an active railroad right away. I think the thinking was to not rezone that, just keep it from. And yes, you're right, there are several homes in that stretch. It never fully developed as commercial. And then neither did the other area.
The other side, right.
Any further questions from Mr. Stanek? Before we go to the public, I request that someone make a motion to place into evidence the following exhibits. Exhibit A would be the minutes of September 22nd for Supervisors meeting recommending the Planning Commission review pancake rezoning. Exhibit B would be the minutes of November 5th Planning Commission meeting discussing rezoning pancake. Exhibit C, minutes of December 3rd Planning Commission meeting recommending rezoning. Exhibit D, legal notice and proof of publication of the public notice. Exhibit E would be the list of property owners within 300 feet and notice of the public mailed to property owners. Exhibit F would be the correspondence received from residents. Exhibit G would be the PowerPoint presentation as prepared by the township with the proposed zoning map change. Exhibit H would be the proposed ordinance with legal description of the property to be rezoned.
Move to submit the exhibit.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the submitted exhibits, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 4-0.
All right, now at this point in time, is there anyone in the public that wishes to give testimony or ask any questions? Anybody in the public? Hello, anybody in the public wishes to talk about this rezoning of the pancake area?
Yes, this is Rich Bowen. I live at 1480 Pierce.
Go ahead, Richard. You want to swear him in, Sheila?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Bowen.
We're new from here and we're just a little confused on this because I think it was Patrick's mic when he was speaking. It was hard to understand. I understand that you want to change it to residential from commercial, but my question is, the way we're reading this, how does that go up past me and my neighbor's house to, like, I think it was the stone quarry that they called it, that's on the side? is anything planned to be there, or I'm just confused on the whole thing?
Mr. Bowen, say I'm on Route 4 going down, you live on, going toward Washington on Route 40. You live on the left-hand side going down here? Where does you live at?
We live at Armin's Barrels.
All right, so-
We live right up the street from Armin's Barrels, the commercial winery.
On the right side.
Yes.
So he's in that district then?
Yeah.
So the question you have, again, Richard, is what?
At the end of our road, it just stops, and I believe that was start the quarry. Is anything going, I mean, is anything being built there, or are we just talking about changing from a commercial?
Just changing the zoning classification. This is not about anything being built, at least that I'm
Okay.
aware
Right
of.
now.
I'm gonna share the screen for Richard, so you
Okay.
can see his lot where it is in the zoning map. And it is underneath that area that's proposed to be rezoned. So
Okay,
Richard, if you can hear me, this is your lot right here. So this
Yes.
is a lot from the current proposal that would be rezoned to R4 residential.
and right now you live in that lot, correct, Richard?
Yes,
This is the quarry.
There's never nothing being built there.
That's the quarry. There's a quarry, I never knew that all these years. So it's our understanding nothing's gonna be built there at this point in time, Richard.
okay. We were just confused on it because we didn't understand what was going on, but I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, anything else, Richard? Any other questions, comments? What's that? It's off. All right. Anybody else in the public have any questions or comments? Who's that, Armin?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they can hear us.
Armin, unmute yourself. Does he want to unmute himself or not?
I asked them to.
Does he know?
I can't hear him.
He's muted.
He's muted.
Can he be?
I keep asking to unmute. There we go.
is, okay.
Armin,
Yes, I'm here.
all right, you wish to test, you wish to ask any questions or make any comments?
No, but I did send an email to Patrick's email address a few days ago. Is it something that you guys gonna read, or you want me to read that? Because I am staying behind all the points that I made in that email.
If you swear him in, Mr. Maple.
All right, we'll do it. Armin, can you state your full name? Sir,
Absolutely. My name is Armin, A-R-M as in Mary, E-N as in Nancy, last name Geronian, G-E-R-O-N as in Nancy, I-A-N as in Nancy, and I am the owner of the Armin's Barrels that is right at the end of McCoy Lane.
Sheila, would you swear this gentleman in, please?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead, sir. What do you wish to say, or any questions or comments?
I'm sorry, that was for me, right? I'm a little confused with so many screens on my laptop.
Talk to you, Armin. You have any questions or comments? Do you agree to the, you oppose it?
Yes, I do oppose it, and I'm gonna just, on this meeting, just gonna give you just one kind of a major point, because all my other points have been mentioned, more or less. So the major point I'm having here is, if you will take a look at the map, which is right there on our screens, and if you will move your mouse right across the McCoy, right parallel to McCoy Lane, probably about 10 yards to the left, that will be correct. That will be my lot right there, the biggest one. And right against, in parallel with the McCoy Lane, it goes the high voltage power lines. Those lines are 138,000 volts line, and that requires, based on my understanding after speaking to certain authorities with the power companies, that requires 60 feet right away, which kind of covers all the parking lot on my property. And that line goes all the way down, by the way. So this commercial status that has been assigned to this property, I don't know how many years ago, that line is probably one of the reasons why you cannot really build any residential thing over there. But for the commercial property, it actually works pretty good because it covers the parking lot, and parking lot is allowed to be within the right of way of those power lines. So not mentioning all other my points, that single fact kind of make me stay strong on the position that I'm opposing this change zoning to the residential, because there is nothing ever residential will happen on my property.
I already have one. So, Mr. Charlie Bach, how do you say Bockstoce?
Boxtos.
Boxtos, he works for you?
That's correct. I'm going to be the manager at Armin's Barrels.
You're also Charlie? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, let's do this. So going back to Armin, so you oppose the rezoning of the property, correct?
That is correct.
And I'm going to assume you would want to make an exhibit I, your email sent to Brandon Stanning within the past few days, correct?
That is correct.
So is there a motion to place into evidence?
Where's that email?
No, Patrick. This one right here.
Those are the.
Email letters.
Yeah, these are letters. I don't think they were.
I thought you, what's that?
Were they entered in the record to begin with?
No,
Okay, that's what I
no,
thought.
I don't, it looks to me like an email, it doesn't have any direct link to it, so I'm assuming it's an email.
letter.
All right, so is there a motion to place into evidence exhibit I, which is a letter from Armin Geronian to, I believe, to the township. It's undated. Yes.
It would be appropriate to enter into the record all the correspondence.
Well, I was gonna do it with Mr. Baxter, how do you say, Boxtos, because he's here also, so I was gonna do it one at a time. That would be the appropriate way to handle this
No, I
situation.
get that, but if there's two or three others.
Okay, I can do it that way then. So there's a motion. Exhibit I will be the letter from Armin Geronian. Exhibit J would be a letter from Charlie Boxtos. Both letters are undated and they're not addressed to the township, but they are what they are.
Are there others, Brandon?
That's all I have.
No, that's all we have.
So moved.
Need a second, please.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you all. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0, Mr. Mick.
All right, thank you. The next person, I guess, is Mr. Charles. Is it Charles or Charlie?
Either's fine.
Or what's your role, Charles?
Yeah, legally I am Charles.
All right, sir, state your full name.
Charles James Boxtos.
Spell your last name for the court reporter.
Bockstoce.
All right, Sheila, would you swear him in, please?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Sir, would you state your address?
My address, my home address, correct?
Yeah.
It's 3209 McRoberts Road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15234.
Current occupation?
Winemaker.
All right. You wish to give some testimony or have any questions or comments regarding this rezoning?
Yeah, I just have a few comments. In the presentation you guys presented, it said that one of the, I think it was part of the strategic plan for the township was incorporation of businesses and residences and kind of easy access to the businesses. And I guess an argument against that would be if we eliminate this C2 section of the zone, including Armin's Barrels and obviously Jerry's Auto Body, the C2 zoning across the street is pretty unusable land in my opinion. So it would actually make poor use of, the commercial property that is available to have the easy access. And another thing that I did a bit of knocking on doors around the area, and I was able to talk with quite a few neighbors, most of whom seem to be opposed to the rezoning as well. It seems like those who are for the rezoning seem to be, let's say, punishing us for the sins of the building's previous owners. I've heard a lot of complaints about parking issues, some people parking on lawns from when it was a skate rink, after hours concerts. And I just wanted to make it absolutely clear that we're going to be a quiet little winery, hopefully have a restaurant, and just draw an upscale clientele, and really not cause any ruckus in the neighborhood. As well as Armin's comments about the land being basically unusable because of the power lines. I think that's about all I have. Also, in terms of occupancy of the commercial businesses, obviously we're a commercial business, and ever since we moved in, we've been doing a lot to really get the building ready for us and kind of repair it. It was in a pretty bad state when we got it. Lots of overgrowth on the outside, lots of roof damage, you name it. But we have been investing a lot into the building in order to transform it into a winery. And we really hope that this won't happen, just so it would make business just, what we expected when we moved in terms of what we're able to do with the building, as our winery should only be about half of the actual space. It's a large 12,000 square foot building. So I think that's about all I have. Just wanted to make clear that we're really trying to be just good neighbors, and a place to hang out and be proud of.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions of either Armin or?
Yes, I do. The gentleman just spoke just now. You said those homes in close proximity to your business, you spoke to them about the situation, the zoning.
Correct.
Okay. When you talked to them, about how many did you talk to? 12, 5, 6, 20? How many did you talk to?
I spoke to, well, I only spoke to residents that actually lived in the C2 zoning. So it was Mrs. Schranz was one of the people that I spoke to. She was very opposed. There was a gentleman in behind us. I believe his last name was Pico. He seemed to be in favor of the rezoning. Just like I said, because somebody had parked on his lawn at one time, I guess overflow from the skate rink. And Jerry from Jerry's Auto Body were the only ones that I was able to get in contact with. However, I did speak with the neighbor who's largely uninvolved, Alex Miyanko, who owns, I think it's the R2 property to the yellow on the drawing. He seems to be on board with just keeping it as is. So I guess that's only about 4 or 5.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other board members?
Mark, you have any questions? These
No, I
gentlemen?
don't.
Rich, any questions?
No.
Mr. Burns, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question of Brandon. Am I correct that if we were to make this change, it would not adversely affect the businesses that are currently there?
Well, they're non-conforming uses. However,
But we've permitted it.
they're non-conforming use underneath the MPC. However, keep in mind, there are nuances if they ever decide to expand, or if they stop doing business for a certain period of time, those non-conforming uses could cease. So that would be an issue for those folks. Even though they would be permitted to keep moving as non-conforming, again, there are nuances to that about expansion, about cessation of business.
Well, I understand those, but would they not at that point in time come back to this board to seek approval for whatever expansion or change they wanted to undertake? And I would hope that this board would see it as an extension of what already exists, not as a non-compliant.
I believe, it would be a zoning hearing board.
It'd be a zoning hearing board. You can't bind a zoning hearing board by whatever your thoughts are today. I mean, it's basically up to that zoning hearing board.
The process to expand a non-conforming use or structure, the pathway is through the zoning hearing board.
And there's a certain procedure you have to do. But again, keep in mind, the zoning hearing board is a separate entity. They don't have to go by what you guys feel today or whatever you believe is. So. Any further questions or comments from anybody on the board? Is there anyone else there in the public that has any questions or comments besides Charles and Armin? Any other people in the audience there that have any questions or comments? Anybody in the public there in favor of the rezoning? You have anybody there, Mr. Connor?
No one said anything?
So,
No comment.
so we only have 2 people here today, and they both oppose it. There's no one here.
And we have heard from none of the residents about this rezoning?
We have, we've heard from Mrs. Strong from conversational.
But that's been verbal.
Yeah, that's been verbal.
And is that since the application or the ordinance has been advertised?
Yes, yeah,
And does she know about the hearing today?
I hope.
And we probably sent her notice also?
Yeah. It's been posted right adjacent to her property.
Right, so we sent notice to everybody there according to MPC.
All the notices were posted. There's no opposition from the group that had used an attorney to ask
Yeah.
for the township to consider this. So we have not heard from them. They were not partaking in planning commission meetings. We never heard from them.
All right, at this point in time, there's no further testimony, no further questions from anybody in the public, from anybody on the board. At this point in time, there's a motion to close the hearing, close testimony.
Mr. Burns, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion on the issue? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Now you have, today's the day, your testimony is closed. 9089 says what, Brandon? You have 45 days to make a decision on this if you deny it, correct?
45 days to make a decision.
After you close the testimony, we have a time period, otherwise
Okay.
it becomes a deemed denial or deemed approval if we don't make a decision. So what you guys want to think about this or not?
This is the township's application.
It is a township's application. But if you make, underneath the code, underneath section 9089, you can sit on this for like 45 days and make a decision. If you deny it, then you have to put your decision in
Mr.
writing.
Makel, did we sit on it? We table it?
You can just table the decision right now if you want and wait till the next meeting and think about it. But keep in mind, it becomes a deemed approval if you don't do anything.
Gotcha.
That's
Any
9089.
motion to table?
Move to table.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. A second to it, please. I'll second the motion. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor of the
Bob, I just want, I have one point to bring up. We have not heard from any of the residents. They didn't come to the planning commission meeting, and they're not here for this meeting. I know we're tabling this, but are we waiting to hear from them? Because it just
No,
doesn't.
you can't, no, the testimony is closed. If the hearing's closed, you don't take any further testimony.
So we're not going to hear from the residents up there. So we're basically making this decision. And I'm just wondering why we have an area, it's all commercial, and we want to make it residential. It makes absolutely no sense. Why can't we make that area commercial and where the homes are, make it residential? And the area across 40, which was R3 and C2, make that all, make residential and commercial, make that all commercial, where Nichols Bakery is, and you're done. Does that make sense? Mark, what do you think? I
It
mean,
makes sense, you're chopping it up. My real concern is we asked the planning commission to look at it and they come back and told us to change it.
well,
We're not,
They're
we're not-
recommending block.
I understand that, but still, we asked them to do it and they recommended it and now we're
It
kind of
was not
slapping it.
unanimous. It was not.
Was
unanimous.
not, I mean, I really think it's ridiculous to change it, it's been that way forever.
You still need time to think about it, Mr. Murphy.
No, not really, I don't.
I mean, it's been this way
You
for
know your decision already?
I'd leave it like it is.
By the way, we have to vote on the table. That's preference.
Yeah,
It's
we
right,
got-
you can't discuss anyone, Jeff.
We should be discussing.
This has
That was the way
been,
you had it.
this has been zoned this way for over 50 years and it's never been an issue.
Yeah, we can't go any further. So we have to vote on the table. Okay? Hate to cut you off like that. Let's have a roll call vote on this, whether the table or not, Mr. Stanley.
Mr. Burns,
No.
Mr. Lukatich,
No.
Mr. Murphy,
No,
Chair Weber,
No.
motion passed. Motion did not pass.
Well, no, well,
Table didn't pass.
In
Now we
motion.
make a motion whether to, give us the motion, Mr. Michael, so we're all the same page.
I assume we're gonna make a motion to deny the.
You bring up the map.
Oh, sorry.
yeah, the recommendation from planning commission to change one section of pancake. from-
Well, you're, right now, what you guys want to keep everything, I guess I'm hearing, they want to keep. the
We
current
can't
zoning.
piecemeal, just whatever we did, the whole package.
You're
That's
gonna,
what we're voting on.
we're gonna reject the rezoning request, correct? Because I hear we're gonna do this and that.
No, you can't divide it up.
All right.
Can I, just for clarification's sake, is it the board's desire to turn this R3 to C2?
Yeah, but let's
But that's-
do, let's do that next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
do that
come
right
back
now.
and do that next meeting.
On the road.
Can't do that right
We're
now.
not chopping, we're either,
Okay, we're gonna have a roll call vote on whether to reject this, the zoning change. Would you please word the motion again?
A motion by the Board of Supervisors of South Strabane Township to reject an ordinance of the Township of South Strabane to amend the zoning map, classification of tax map parcels number 600-006-0000, from medium, low residential R3 to general commercial, that's a C2. And a number of parcels, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, from general commercial to medium residential, which is R4.
Okay, need a motion
Could we refer this back to the planning commission for further study?
Well, it's your decision.
we could after this vote. Yeah, but that's good a vote.
No,
We're on a vote right now.
I mean, instead of this vote. I mean, they sent it to us for approval,
Well,
we
we
can
all-
send it back. rather
Dennis
than-
said we already had a public hearing, if we don't do anything in 45 days, it automatically comes to, so we're kind of, we gotta do this.
So the motion is to reject or not to approve, motion not to approve ordinance amending those parcels as stated in the ordinance.
Anybody? What?
I'll make
that motion.
I'll second it.
Second, thank you. Motion, any further discussion on it? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0.
But keep in mind, we also have to put something in writing as to the reason why we're rejecting this, I need 9089. So if you want, my office will do that,
Yeah.
or Brandon can do that, it's up to you.
Motion is
All right.
there. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Letter E, motion approving a letter to the Washington County Planning Commission supporting an effort to update the county greenways plan. Mr. Stanley, give a briefing on that, please.
Sure thing. The township is in receipt of a request from the County Planning Commission to relay a letter of support encouraging the County Planning Commission to move forward with an initiative to update the existing county greenways plan. The current plan was adopted in January of 2007. Please note, according to the current Greenway Plan, Washington County's role in greenways planning is to implement the Pennsylvania Greenways Action Plan and to encourage and enable municipalities to plan for and implement greenways. According to the Pennsylvania Greenways Action Plan, a greenway is a corridor of open space. In order to begin the update process, the county is seeking financial assistance through the DCNR And per the DCNR's requirements, the county must provide support letters from municipalities and other partners that the plan covers. The Washington County Planning Commission is seeking a letter that supports a plan that focuses on providing recreation for all, preserving and protecting important open space and agricultural land, and addressing environmental concerns.
I'll make a motion to accept that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukasich. Any further discussion? One question. I might have asked this before. Is there a stipend involved? Are we to contribute to this?
No, they're just wanting a letter of support.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Letter F, motion to appoint planning commission, zoning hearing board, and vacancy board members. And Mr. Stanek, would you please, as we approve or disapprove this motion, would you please name the people that are up for these positions?
So Thomas Still is up for Planning Commission with the term ending December 31st, 2024. Andrew Rembert is up for a zoning hearing board term expiring 12/31/2023. Jimmy Stewart is up for a zoning hearing board term expiring 12/31/2023. And vacancy board term expires 12/31/2021. And a reappointment of Bob Jones.
I have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Need a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Letter F, motion to, letter D, pardon me. Motion renewing a mutual aid compact with the Washington Regional SWAT team. Mr. Stanek, please.
Sure, I'll be going to defer to the chief.
Okay.
I'll take that. The Washington Regional SWAT Team Commander, Lieutenant Kuzak, has requested that we renew our mutual aid agreement with the Washington Regional SWAT Team, which we are. Because the agreement really does nothing more than recognize the law that's already on the books for statewide municipal police jurisdiction, which allows us to use police powers outside of our jurisdiction when requested to do so, or if we believe that region needs our assistance. So it's again just a renewal to get fresh signatures, aka mine, of the agreement from my predecessor.
Move to approve. Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Need a second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. H, a motion approving agreement with fire grants help for the completion and processing of a safer grant application. Mr. Stanek.
As an ongoing goal of the board this year, the township continues to focus on improving fire and emergency medical services for the community. Currently, the fire department is comprised of 9 career firefighters that work together with the volunteer fire department to provide these services. The township provides on-duty coverage 16 hours per day, Monday through Friday. It is the desire of the board, in working with the volunteer department, to begin providing coverage on the weekends and work to a 24/7 staffing model. Each year, FEMA provides grant opportunities to assist career and career/volunteer departments to meet goals of increased staffing/retention through the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grant Program. We like to call that SAFER. This program was created to provide funding directly to fire departments and volunteer fire interest organizations to help them increase or maintain the number of trained frontline firefighters available in their community. The goal of SAFER is to enhance the local fire department's abilities to comply with staffing, response, and operational standards established by the NFPA. Typically, the program provides financial assistance over a 3-year period and requires a match from the municipality. The 2021 cycle waives that match requirement and is providing 100% financial assistance for the 3-year period. One requirement for the program is for municipalities to continue to retain the increased staffing of the department after the 3 years. After polling the board, an agreement with Fire Grants Help was executed earlier this month to not only begin the grant writing process, but also to capture a 30% discount for the service in the amount of $3,500. Grant applications are due March 12th.
Move to approve. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Letter I. Report from the planning commission concerning standards for drive-through facilities.
Sure, let me just grab that real quick. So I believe it was in November or October meeting before the supervisors asked the planning commission to take a look at the drive-through facilities, requirements and standards of the code. And so citing concerns regarding popular drive-throughs in townships, the board unanimously directed the planning commission to review section 245, 175 of the township code concerning standards of drive-throughs. This was during their September 22nd regular meeting. During its November 5th meeting, the planning commission reviewed existing standards for drive-through facilities, as well as photographs of the existing Starbucks drive-through facility at 110 Trinity Point Drive. Main takeaways from the discussion were as follows. Drive-throughs are use-driven, i.e. Starbucks and Chick-fil-A typically will be a lot higher, impact than, say, a pharmacy or McDonald's. Often during the land development process, the actual tenants are unknown for the units with proposed drive-through facilities. So the initial review process, you don't know whether it's Starbucks or whether it's model cleaners. The current pandemic is placing greater amounts of pressure on drive-throughs and takeout ordering for many restaurants. And lastly, the members of the planning commission expressed their concerns regarding the current parking lot standards trickling down to the drive-throughs, i.e. the code is written to prepare commercial parking lots for 1 or 2 shopping days per year, leaving large areas of asphalt vacant for most of the year. Please note, due to the length of the recent planning commission agendas, this specific item was tabled at both the December 3rd and January 7th regular meetings. During the February 4th regular meeting, the planning commission came to a consensus not to recommend any changes to the existing zoning standards concerning drive-throughs because the following. PennDOT traffic guidelines do not specifically regulate or advise standards for drive-throughs. Drive-throughs should be a point of focus during all future land development reviews. Traffic safety is crucial when drive-throughs frequently demonstrate backups into the thoroughfares. Routine patrols and traffic enforcement from the police department should occur. And the township's past communication with the scientists to reconfigure the Starbucks drive-through 110 Cherry Point provides an excellent case study on how to remedy existing facilities moving forward.
Thank you for the report.
Move to accept the report.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukasich. Any further discussion on it? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Letter J. Resolution amending the police department policy and procedures manual by establishing a policy regarding body worn cameras. Chief.
Take this again. We have as our priority to continue to update our existing policy and procedures manual to reflect best practices and emerging technology. In this case, we evaluated the body worn cameras. We're looking to institute body worn cameras, and we created a policy by committee that has instituted all stakeholders in the department, along with union counsel and township solicitor as well. And additionally, it's been approved by the Bureau of Justice Assistance body worn camera implementation program.
Move to approve.
Need a second, please.
Second.
I would also like to point out that thanks to the chief's diligence in securing a grant in the amount of $17,400.
Thank you. Congratulations. 17 grand, good. Okay, any further discussion other than Mr. Stanek? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Letter K, resolution for the disposition of specific public records. Stanek, you have a statement or two on that?
Sure, we have more records to dispose of.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Need a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Number 10, adjourn, motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Mr. Murphy, second. All those in favor? Aye. 4-0 for adjournment. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Well done. Got through all that before 9:30. 8:59. Hour and a half.